Good morning, class 10 students. I welcome you all on this online platform provided by Jagrati Classes. We were doing chapter 5, that is periodic classification of elements. And till now we have discussed that earlier some researchers and scientists classified elements in metals and non-metals. Next, another scientist, that is Daubigner, classified elements into a group of 3 that was called Daubigner's triad, but later it was rejected because he had certain drawbacks and limitations for his classification. In the previous class, we discussed Mendeleev's periodic table. That is, Mendeleev's periodic table was very successful. Now I have told you in the earlier lecture about how he classified different elements, that is all the elements which were known to him till that time. A total of 63 elements he classified. So now we will be discussing the merits and demerits or drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table. So this lecture is for class 10th, chapter 5, that is periodic classification of elements, and this is the part 3 of this chapter. So we are discussing Mendeleev's periodic table. In the last lecture, we have already started and I have given you all the introduction and everything about Mendeleev's table. Now I'll be dealing with the merits and demerits of Mendeleev. So firstly, we'll study what were the merits possessed by this Mendeleevian periodic law or Mendeleev's periodic table. So the first merit was what? All the elements which were known to Mendeleev till that time, that is, when Mendeleev gave his periodic arrangement of elements, till that time 63 elements were known to him. So first merit would be he classified all 63 elements into his periodic table okay, so he classified all the 63 elements or he included all the 63 elements into his periodic table. Then the next merit was he also left gaps for certain elements which were undiscovered. So the next would be he left gaps. Gaps here mean empty or vacant spaces. So Mendeleev left some vacant spaces for the elements which were undiscovered yet, but he knew that many elements would be discovered later. So he left gap on it, gaps for them. He left gaps for the elements to be discovered in future. So this was his second merit. Then he also used certain terms which I already discussed, that is the elements which were not discovered, that is he left gap, like after boron, you can see the table given in your books. After boron he left a vacant space, then when aluminium, then after aluminium also he left a space, and after silicon, that is carbon silicon, and then he left a blank space or a gap. So he named these elements, these were your undiscovered elements. These elements were undiscovered till that time. But he called these elements to be Eka boron. Then he said this to be Eka aluminium. And this element, because this came after silicon, so he said any element which will have same properties similar to coming in this group, okay, similar to the ones coming in your carbon silicon group, this element will also show same properties. So this element can be kept here and this would be called Eka silicon. And later on, when actually these elements, the new elements were discovered, then we came to know that we had one element which had similar properties to boron and atomic mass greater than or more than boron. This was your scandium. So later scandium were placed just after this boron atom. boron element. And eka aluminium, the element which was discovered, it had same properties like aluminium. And according to the atomic mass arrangement also, it could be involved at this position. So this eka aluminium was gallium. Okay? And this eka silicon, it was actually germanium, which was discovered later. So you can write the third point, that we know that he left these gaps for the elements which were not discovered until he classified or he arranged all the discovered elements. So he proposed the terms, then you can continue that he proposed the terms eka boron, eka aluminium and eka silicon for the undiscovered elements and now we have these discovered elements scandium, gallium and germanium, which can be included in his periodic table, and these show properties accordingly. That is, scandium shows similar properties with boron, gallium has similar properties to aluminium, and this germanium has similar properties with this group, that is the carbon group. Carbon silicon shows similar property with germanium. Then the next was what? These elements were not discovered. Okay, he just named them, that any element which would be discovered would be called eka boron. But he also intelligently and very smartly gave their properties, because he knew which element you would keep in this group, which will show similar properties with all the elements coming in the group. Okay, we know all the elements which will come in the group, we just don't know the middle element of the group. So he proposed very smartly that the element which would be discovered in future will have certain physical and chemical properties which are similar to all the elements present already in the group. So simply writing that, he also gave an idea about the properties, about the physical and chemical properties of these undiscovered elements. So this is again a very smart approach done by Mendeleev, and this is counted as a merit of Mendeleev. That is, he didn't know which elements will be present here, but he said the element which would be discovered in future, it would have certain physical and chemical properties. And how did he knew that it would have these physical properties? Because he knew that in one group, all the elements which are present in a single group have same properties. So whatever element you will put here will have same properties as boron and all the other elements of the group. So these were the merits of Mendeleev's periodic table. Next, coming on to the demerits, or you can write the drawbacks and limitations, drawbacks or limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table. So the first drawback was position of hydrogen cannot be assigned. That is, hydrogen was not given any definite position in his periodic table. Until now we are confused about where to put this hydrogen in our periodic table. So position of hydrogen could not be assigned. That is, he was also confused where to put this hydrogen, because hydrogen shows very dissimilar properties, so it cannot be put in any group. And because it is a very lighter element, we cannot include hydrogen in the middle, because all these classification till now were based on what? On the basis of increasing order of atomic mass. So position of hydrogen could not be assigned. Then the next what you have is the second point, that is isotopes of elements were not arranged systematically. So isotopes were not arranged systematically. For example, if we talk about the isotopes of hydrogen, you know hydrogen has 3 isotopes. Isotopes means which have some dissimilarity or some deformity in their top cap. What I am trying to say is, whenever you represent any element, you write the symbol of the element, then you write atomic number, and on its head you write the mass number. So we can say that mass number behaves as a cap for your element. So taking the isotopes of hydrogen, isotopes are which have same atomic number but difference in mass number, that is mass number is not same, mass number is different. So this is what you have as isotopes. So talking about hydrogen, you have 3 isotopes, that is 1H1 prosium, then you have 1H2 which is deuterium, and the next is 1H3 which is tritium. So you have 3 different isotopes of hydrogen with you, and these 3 isotopes could not be arranged systematically in Mendelevian periodic table, because accordingly if you see their mass numbers are different, and according to Mendeleev, wherever he placed his hydrogen, you can see the Mendelevian table in your textbooks. So he placed hydrogen and then he placed lithium, beryllium. In this manner he made his periodic table. Okay, so accordingly the isotope should be placed where? After hydrogen, the next isotope should come here and the third one should come here. That is in the first, second and third groups. But Mendeleev did not tell you anything about the arrangement of these isotopes. So the position of isotopes was not proposed by Mendeleev. Then the next is, after these 2 drawbacks, he left certain gaps which are still left empty. That is the gaps which he proposed. No elements are still discovered which can suitably fit or acquire these gaps. So, some of the gaps proposed by Mendeleev are still vacant. That is, these gaps are not still filled up. No element is discovered which can be suitably fitted into this gap arrangement. So, some of the gaps which were proposed by Mendeleev was still vacant, and these are vacant till now also. Then the next would be what? We have one more demerit about Mendeleev, that is, he gave wrong order of atomic mass for many elements. That is, some elements, he tried to arrange elements in increasing order of atomic mass. Elements having a lighter mass will come at the left, and now elements with a larger mass. Okay? Whenever you move from left hand side to right hand side in this manner, then you will have element with the larger mass. But in turn, some order of the elements, that is, if you see this Mendelevian table, then you will find that order of atomic mass was wrong at many places. So we can say that at certain places he gave a wrong order of atomic mass. That is, what he did was, he kept a lighter element to the right of a heavier element. So this was wrong according to him, because this lighter element should be to the left hand side of the larger or heavier element. So this was again a drawback of Mendeleev. Next, what he did, I told you in the previous section that he made 8 group and divided all these groups into subgroup, whereas 8th group was not divided in any kind of subgroup. And in this 8th group, he kept or he grouped 3 elements which had same properties. But this was not correct, as he grouped dissimilar or different elements, he grouped different elements together. And where this anomalous behavior can be observed, that is, you can see he has grouped, that is, he put sodium, lithium and potassium in a same group. These are very different and very dissimilar elements according to their properties, but these elements were put by Mendeleev in a same group. Okay, sodium, lithium and potassium were put in the same group, but these are dissimilar. Then the sixth and last point, which can be a limitation to Mendeleev's arrangement, was he grouped or he separated similar elements. He separated similar elements. That is, many elements which had same properties, they were separated, they were classified into different groups. So this was again a major limitation of Mendeleev. So I am just revising up the limitations. The first drawback was position of hydrogen could not be systematically assigned. That is, hydrogen could not be given a definite particular position according to Mendeleevian periodic table. The next is what? The isotopes of elements were not arranged systematically. As we discussed now, that according to Mendeleev, his periodic classification was based on different laws, okay, or on the periodicity of atomic mass. That is, the lighter element should be placed at the left of the table, and as you move from left to right, then you will get a heavier element instead. But we know that we have 3 isotopes of hydrogen which significantly have different masses. That is, the difference in their mass is of 1 unit. So this hydrogen isotope was placed by Mendeleev in its usual form, that is to the left of the table. But the remaining isotopes, he didn't define any significant positions where these isotopes could be placed. Then some of the gaps which Mendeleev left for the undiscovered elements which would be discovered in the near future, this was a merit also, but because certain of these gaps were still left vacant, so this proposed a high demerit to the Mendeleevian periodic table arrangement. Then at certain places he gave a wrong order of atomic mass. That is, he put a heavier element to the left of the lighter element. So he himself made many errors while proposing this arrangement. Then the next what you have, he grouped different elements together. That is, elements which had different physical and chemical properties, so they should be placed differently in his table, but he grouped different elements together. Sodium, lithium and potassium were put in a same group. So this was again a demerit possessed by Mendeleev, and he also separated similar elements. The elements which in turn had similar properties, he kept them in separate groups. So these were major drawbacks of your Mendeleevian periodic table. Now next what we have is the modern periodic table. This modern periodic table overcame many of the drawbacks of all the systematically proposed classification, that is all the proposed periodic tables. So we have our modern periodic table. You can try, the modern periodic table is given in your books, okay? It is made as a clear diagrammatic representation. So you can try to memorize, and please at least memorize the first 20 elements of your periodic table. I have also told you in the beginning that you have to memorize the symbol of the elements, their name, atomic mass and atomic number in a proper sequence. So now we'll be starting with the modern periodic table, and the discoverer of this modern periodic table is Henry Moseley. So he gave this modern periodic table. This table is also called the long form of periodic table. It is the long form of your periodic table. Now, the modern periodic table has a systematic arrangement of elements, and thus the elements are also classified into different blocks. Okay? We'll study this arrangement also now. But the first point in the systematic arrangement of elements according to modern periodic table, that is Moseley divided all the elements into 18 vertical columns. And these vertical columns were called as groups. And in the modern or the long form, you have 7 horizontal columns or horizontal rows which are referred as periods. So you have 7 periods and 18 groups in your modern periodic table. The 18 groups and 7 periods can be represented that you have your first group. This I am writing the group number, and below we'll do the period number. So accordingly you have your first and second group, and these two groups are included in S block. That is, all the elements coming in the first and second groups are included in your S block. Then you have the third, fourth, fifth, that is third to 12th group are included in this portion. Okay, I'll draw it again. The modern periodic table which you have with you, we have first two groups, that is our group 1 and group 2. These two groups are called your S block. The first group is also named as alkaline metals, and the second one is called alkaline earth metals. Then in the middle portion of the periodic table, you have group number 3 to group number 12, and the elements coming in this are called as your D block elements. Then the next you have is from group number 13 to group number 18. 13, 14, 15, then we have 16, this is 13, 14, 15, 16, and two more groups you have. That is your 17th and 18th group. And as Mendeleev divided all these groups into subgroups, Moseley didn't divide these groups into further subgroups. No groups were further divided into the subgroups. So this is your 13 to 18 group elements belong to your P block. And the next one, that is, you have two more periods or groups where each 14 and 14 elements are being placed, and these are known as your F block. So this is how our modern periodic table or the long form of periodic table looks like. We have to study only S block and P block in detail. Okay, so now I'll be telling you the names, the common names by which these blocks are referred. So the first group is known as alkaline metals. The second one is called alkaline earth metals. Next group, that is from 13, or you can also arrange, you can learn the arrangement of first 20 elements at least in your periodic table. So in the first group we have hydrogen, and concerning the number of periods, the first period you have, then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh. So in this way, different groups are assigned and different number of periods are given. Now what you have next, here comes your hydrogen, then helium would come in this 18th group. Next you have lithium, then you have sodium, okay? Then here you have, okay, there is no need to memorize all these elements present in the group, and if you can, then it's the best. Then you have potassium, then you have rubidium, then you have cesium, and in the end you have francium. So these are the elements which are included in alkaline metals. And in turn you can see all the arrangement. Then here comes neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. So this 18th group is also referred to as zero group. Why so? Because these group numbers, the group numbers which we have put, these refer to the valency, and we know that 18th group have inert gases, that is your noble gases. So hence these have a zero valency, so they are also referred as 80 or zero group. And the valencies of all others can be found out very easily, that all the elements present in your first group have a valency equal to 1. Then all the elements which would come in your next group, that is beryllium, magnesium, calcium, etc., they would have a valency equal to 2. But the other elements, that is the elements of p block, because the group number is 13, this does not signify that the valency can be 13. Valency is the combining capacity of atom with another atom to gain a stable configuration. So for finding the valencies of elements from 13 to 18th group, or for finding the valencies of this p block of elements, what we do is, group number signifies the valency for your first and second group. But this group number is equal to 10 plus valency if you are talking about p block, that is the group number 13 to 18th. So this what we are discussing is the significance of group number. Group number first and second gives you the direct or exact number of valency. So all the elements coming in group 1 would have a valency 1, and all the elements coming in group 2 would have a valency of 2. But coming to the groups from 13 to 18, that is when you are discussing about p block, this group number will not directly give you the number of valency. This would give you a value, that is 10 plus valency. So you can write the element which is coming in the 13th group, it has a valency of 3. Because 10 plus valency is giving you 13, so finding valency, it would give you answer 3. In turn, the element coming in your 15th group would have a valency of 5, because it is 5 more than 10. So this is your long form of periodic table. Now we'll be discussing this long form more in the next video class. Till now, if you have any sort of doubt, then you can ask, and please do remember the elements coming from atomic number 1 to atomic number 20, because you will be asked in exams, okay? So thank you for joining the class today. Stay home, stay safe.